Check one. Check one. Here we go. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. My phone is just going crazy right now. It is just going crazy. It's not stopping. It's the Graham Platner campaign is in the midst of exploding, I believe. And so Politico came out with a story. You've heard this by now. And Politico came out with a story this afternoon about another victim. This one says that he came over wasted. They had hooked up previously another time. He came over wasted. He tried to have sex with her. He grabbed her. He was rough with her. She said, no. He was wasted. He overpowered her. He had sex with her. He was not wearing condom and just whatever. And then the next morning tried to hug her, and she was like, "Get the hell away from me!" And she corroborated. And she's somebody who likes his politics, and this is a problemo. And little by little, all of these Democratic whores now, like Ro Khanna, have now been hitting the brakes, and now they're bailing on him. Like Ro Khanna should just really just shoot himself to the moon. Really, like some of these people were so shameless, and they got caught up. You know what's good? This is a good thing, because this is bad people getting what they deserve, and other bad people getting what they deserve, and helping the other bad people get what they deserve. So the New York Times, when they did the story a month and a half ago, Lindsay Fifield said, "Hey, you guys buried one of the other stories, which is the more serious rape story." And the New York Times did do that. They got rid of the actual rape and just had Fifield being this Republican person who was complaining about Platner being a drunk and physical with her. But that wasn't rape, so it was him being a jerk and abusive. But so then now Politico got the original accuser, to say some stuff. She was on with Jake Tapper. I actually haven't heard these. I was just grabbing these while driving up here from Howie Carr's show. And but Tapper has interviewed this person. This is a crazy time. This is not a crazy time. So I think her name is her name Jennifer? The internet is so half-assed. Is your internet half-assed today or what? All right, let me find. Breaking news story. Platner, by the way, came out with a video and denied it, but said sorry.
It's the troubling, serious, and false allegations. I wanted to directly address the troubling, serious, and false allegations against me. Any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically false. Over the last 10 months, I have been deeply humbled by the faith Mainers have put in me. You have welcomed me into your homes, into your places of work, into your restaurants, into your houses of worship. You have shown that a different kind of politics, one that puts the interests of people over corporations, is not just possible, but is inevitable. This movement we have built, the largest volunteer base in the history of Maine politics, the hundreds of thousands of grassroots donors, and the supporters across the ideological spectrum, we were united in a love of Maine, a belief that our politics must change, and a focus on defeating Susan Collins. So, regardless of the inaccuracy of the reporting, but mindful of the political reality it will inflict, we are taking the time to reflect on the best path forward for the state that I love, the people that I love, the movement I belong to, and the goal of defeating Susan Collins. Those were the goals when we launched this campaign, and they remain my goals today. On June 9th, 154,058 Mainers, the most in primary history, voted to reject a broken politics beholden to Washington and the donor class. They voted for hope, for change, to take back our economy, to take back our power, and to take back our Senate seat. Throughout it all, you never turned your back on me, and I will not turn my back on you now. Every one of you deserves to see that vision come to fruition and see Susan Collins defeated. And we will use every tool at our disposal to do so. As Maine goes, so goes the nation. As always, thank you.
And Graham, they're going there without you this year. So, and just, we'll play some of the Tapper stuff here because it's his interview with the person. But it is so okay. Here we go. Here's him asking. Her name is, I forgot her name. What's her name? I can't remember her name. It doesn't matter. Hold on. Twitter is not working well, and I really kind of needed to. Okay.
Everything had fallen onto the floor, and in that moment, I evaluated my safety. Like a drunk person who's blackout drunk is in my home, has these intentions with me, has already caused this amount of destruction and not listening to me, and so I basically felt safe as just complying.
You normally use protection.
Yeah.
And this time he didn't, and you didn't want that.
No.
And he didn't care.
No, I don't think my words were falling on deaf ears or drunk ears.
And you were still saying, don't do this, or I'm not into this?
I remember specifically him grabbing at my chest, and I hit his hand and I said, don't touch me. And I remember that during the altercation.
And
specifically.
Then he kept going.
Yeah, and it was this weird mix of coming in and out of, I don't think consciousness is a word, but coming to and kind of falling back into that drunken, I don't know what I'm doing state. And he would apologize in those moments and then go back to doing what he was doing.
So he was aware that he was doing something wrong and saying sorry.
I feel like he was in moments.
Is there any... When the New York Times story came out, you were in it, but you didn't go as far in that story as you are today.
Yeah.
Why not?
I didn't want to. I didn't want to have to violate this huge level of privacy to my own life to be able to infer that this person is not honest and trustworthy. I felt really protective of my own privacy throughout this whole process. And it got to a point where my privacy was no longer going to happen. And that was when I kind of just made the decision that I'm going to say my piece and get it out there. I had tried to give the impression that something, worse happened. And that's when it was I refused to comment further.
You definitely alluded.
Her name's Risa, I think is her last name. But so far, what does he sound like? A wasted, kind of rapey kind of guy, right?
When the New York Times story came out, you were in it.
Okay, so this is not. Let me see if there's any more Tapper stuff, because this stuff is just kind of fallen around. There we go.
Know that you have been very reluctant to tell this story.
Yeah.
Very reluctant. Why did you ultimately decide to do it? Why come forward?
A few reasons. One of the biggest ones is that I think that there are a lot of men in this world relying on the silence of women and to be where they are. And I don't want to contribute to that. I also want to just get my life back.
There are going to be people, maybe even his campaign, certainly his supporters, who say this is politically motivated. What would you say to that?
I couldn't disagree more. That was actually one of the reasons that I didn't come out.
Because you agree with his politics.
I do. I really agree with his politics. I think we need somebody with those political stances and who are willing to do the work. And, I see his political videos. They get me fired up as well. I understand why people want someone like him in office.
This ain't great. It's not great for him that she's, complimenting him like this. Oof.
And I felt like me coming forward would potentially take that away. And I felt really uncomfortable with the responsibility and the weight of my story and what that might do.
When people hear this from you, mm-hmm. Are you saying you should not vote for him because of what happened?
I'm not going to go as far as to say that. I'm just here to tell my story, to give a clearer picture of who he is and the type of past that he has. And I just think it's fair to the democratic process to let people know who they're voting for.
This is.
Let me see. Next one we have.
And he wrote, quote, "Rape is a comment on Reddit about a video promoting underwear designed to prevent rape." And he wrote, quote, "Rape is a real thing. If you're so worried about it to buy Kevlar underwear, you'd think you might not get blacked out, fucked up around people you aren't comfortable with."
Right.
What did you think when you saw that?
I thought, here's a man who was drunk and who, by dictionary definition, raped me. And he's blaming drunk women. So I just felt like that was a very odd take to have on that. And I also feel like with all of the comments that he made about women, sexual assault, rape, even, the comments that he had made that was in the New York Times article about, threatening people with rape, like, why does this person have this issue scattered throughout their life, throughout their commentary, like it's on their mind? Why do they have such a strong opinion about women coming forward with allegations? I just feel like this isn't the first time.
I know that you have been very reluctant to tell this story.
Yeah.
Very reluctant. Why?
I'm just typing to the chat that I think he's going tomorrow. Typing it incorrectly, but there you go. All right, let's see what else we got. Let's see the next one here.
Voting for.
This has obviously been very difficult for you to talk about for 5 years. Mm-hmm. And even when you're telling the story, you don't use the word.
Yeah.
So let me just be, and I apologize, let me be as direct as I can. Did Graham Platner rape you?
By definition, yes. Absolutely.
Because he had non-consensual sex with you.
Yeah.
Forced himself on you. Mm-hmm. Even after you had told him no and fought him off.
Yeah. He violated multiple layers of consent that night by coming into my home when I asked him not to, and by advancing on me when I told him not to, and furthermore, another incident that I had told him not to do. And
with protection.
Yeah. So, yeah. By the way that my nervous system reacted to this experience, absolutely.
Oof. Well, lefties, there you go. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you should have thought about this when it was just about the tattoo.
Don't. Over and over.
I remember he was heavily intoxicated, had intentions with me, and wasn't listening when I said no. And
you were saying no, don't, over and over.
I remember, obviously I've had to recall a lot of this. This is something that I tried for many years to forget. And so small details, might get past me. But yes, I remember very specifically saying, I'm not into this. I remember that the most. So saying that the the most firmly. I remember specifically him like grabbing at my chest, and I like hit his hand and I said, "Don't touch me." And I remember that during the occupation.
And then he kept going.
Yeah.
I know that you have been very reluctant to tell this story. Very reluctant.
Some of this I know we've heard.
I'm actually surprised you're here.
Thrown up 3 times today.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Why did you ultimately decide to do it? Why come forward?
A few reasons. One of the biggest ones is that I think that there are a lot of men in this world relying on the silence of women.
So we've played that before. If there's something new, I'll find it. If not, we could probably wrap up.
There are going to be Democrats who say, I believe you, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm going to vote for him anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Because we need a progressive voice in the United States Senate. Mm-hmm. Are you going to be okay with that? Are you going to be able to handle that? I'm not saying it's the right answer or the right response, but
no, I have friends who feel that way, and that's been a hard pill to swallow. And I guess I need to not ask, potentially. Maybe I need to not ask in order to not care what they do. I understand that the state of our political environment is so much so that we need a lot of change. And he's offering that change. And, you know, I'm not mad at anyone who has voted for him all along. If he wasn't who he was, I would be voting for him as well. And going forward, I don't know what's going to happen.
There are going to be Democrats who say...
I think that's pretty much... Let me see. Hold on.
You normally use protection.
Yeah.
And this time he didn't.
No.
And you didn't want that.
No.
And he didn't care.
No, I don't think my words were falling on deaf ears or drunk ears.
And you were still saying
this all right.
Just want to find out more of it.
Okay. So there you go.
Her phone number, and I called her and began texting. Now, I just want to clear up one thing because of what Platner said, his campaign said in that statement. I first got in touch with Jenny Rassicot not because of any out-of-state coordinators, as he alleged. Her name appeared in a New York Times story, and my bookers found her phone number, and I called her and began texting with her, and that is why this interview happened today. Earlier today, Jenny Rassicot and I talked about what happened that night in 2021 and her relationship with Grant Platner and his candidacy and why she's coming forward now. I'm going to play you some of our conversation now. I do want to warn you that this report includes some strong language and details of an alleged rape, which may be deeply disturbing, and it may also be triggering.
So you've heard a lot of that that we've already played. The great thing, so this is some of the people who have. This is to me. This is like walking into a 7-Eleven and the guy who runs the place has been held up and shot, and so he's dead. Work with me here. We're doing this is hyperbole. So although something terrible happened, now I have full access to the nacho machine and the nacho pump with nobody to stop me. So that's what I'm saying. So this is because somebody was raped. That's awful, and this woman seems like she's haunted by this. The nacho part of this is that all of these people who are like still backing Platner or who are so cowardly and so like snakily, dropping him. It's exposed all of them, and that's just fantastic. Stephen King has, first of all, he just said when I was in Howie's studio that Graham Platner may drop out. This is recently. This is 2 hours ago. I hope he doesn't, but meanwhile, the abuser-in-chief just keeps on keeping on. In other words, Trump, he's got nothing to go by. This is another thing Stephen King says about this guy, the rapist. This is how it is, ladies. You wonder, by the way, why and if liberal men hate you, they hate you. And they think you have rape coming. Stephen King, tell you what, if you knew the whole truth about everyone in the Senate and the House of Reps, those chambers would be dead empty. Jesus said, let him without sin cast the first stone. You see? There you go. Perfectly normal. Yeah, he can rape, but, what's wrong? We're going to have, what's wrong? I don't see the, Chris Coons, 1 hour ago. Chris, what do you got?
And, frankly...
Oh, this might be old.
Mr. Platner is a four-tour combat veteran and someone whose conduct as he came home from war, many have questioned. I don't know him and don't know him at all well, but I'm going to give him a measure of grace and wait until I get a chance to hear more about the details of all these different allegations.
Okay, so that's, I think, a little bit old. Shanna Bellows said the allegations against Graham Platner are serious, and survivors deserve to be respected and heard. Jenny Rassicot was brave to come forward, while Graham ignited a powerful movement to challenge the status quo. Given the seriousness of the allegations, he needs to step down. Of course, she wants the gag. She's the Secretary of State of Maine. Alyssa Farrah Griffin. Here's two chicks on The View. Alyssa Farrah Griffin and the other one, I can't remember her name, but she's kind of attractive.
Reading the tea leaves. What was your reaction to the interview, Alyssa?
I thought that it was credible. It was heartbreaking to listen to. It's devastating to listen to a woman recount that. But I really appreciate you mentioning Lindsay Fifield, who also came forward to the New York Times and talked about different allegations, but allegations of what I would consider emotional abuse and physical abuse that she endured from Graham Platner. He denied those allegations, but her claims were ignored by many prominent Democrats. Why? Because she's a Republican operative. I've known her for nearly 20 years. I believe her claims, those were credible. This woman, this is even more devastating, and regardless of how she voted, those are credible, but it should have been enough when he insulted Purple Heart recipients, when he made homophobic slurs, that he had a Nazi tattoo. When it becomes winning at all costs, and I've seen this in my own party, I call it out when it's Republicans too, you end up elevating some of the worst people. This should be a moment of reflection. And by the way, I do think he will drop out because there's a narrow window that Democrats can replace him with somebody who doesn't have all of this baggage. There's about a week that they can act and do that, and I think that's very much the direction the party should go.
So there you go. Share settings, participants once. Hold on, I'm just trying to book my friend. Copy invite link. Book my guy, Graham Pollard. See, is this video still working? Does this all still work? Oh, sorry. All right. Okay, Graham Pollard, Zoom. I am no video, but audio, yes. The audio Zoom, yes, I keep. So here we go. Graham Pollard, where are you, my friend? Thanks, you. All right, let me find Graham Pollard. Hold on. Chat. I'll send it to Alice. And I'll text it to Graham. Guys, you're with me on this. You're with me on this. Hang on. Hang on. Hopefully nothing dies as far as copy link. We are streaming. Graham Pollard, if you guys don't know him, he is The social media editor of the Maine Wire. He's kind of the genius behind the Maine Wire. If there is a genius, he's the one. Steve's the genius too, but I gotta say. So, but Graham is just he has used the horsepower of the social media to give us a lot of reach, and so I'm thrilled to have him. Let's see if we get him here. Just stay with me, guys. It'll be fine. Everything's gonna be fine. Let me see if he's here yet. But this is another thing this has done. This has really showed. Remember those guys, the people who, in the first place with the vocal burn, like picked him. Remember this guy?
And at this point, you hadn't vetted Graham Platner. You hadn't done a full scrub of who he is. How did you go about vetting him? And why did you?
We paid a nice firm a whole chunk of money and got some stuff back. Some of what you've seen on the news we got back. Other stuff we didn't.
Did the vetting process turn up the tattoo that became so controversial?
No.
Oof.
The Reddit posts, did that turn up in the vetting process?
The firm sent us a thing, and it had some of the posts, but it didn't have all of them.
And what did you think about that? How did you think your way through the fact that he had posted these things on social media?
I said none of this will or should stop him from becoming a U.S. Senator.
And what was your thinking there?
Agree. I think if what the voters wanted were people who were grown in vats and had never done or said anything that they might regret their entire lives, we'd have a very different country. Part of our thesis here is that people do not want their candidates grown in vats. They want people who are real human beings, and they want people who do not look and sound like the vat-grown people who've been leading this country off a cliff for the last century.
Well, there you go. The political mind of the century right there, making his choice, finding the guy he felt was the guy for the moment. And are we all that shocked? Are we all that shocked? I am not all that shocked. Emily Vigeland, this very attractive, progressive psycho who just loved Graham Platner and told us all to go to hell.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to jump on here to address the serious, credible allegations against Graham Platner. This story is devastating. I believe the victim here. I think that Graham should drop out of the race. He has betrayed many, many supporters by not being forthright about this. I would include myself in that. I believed his campaign when they said that there was nothing new coming out, and it looks like an awful, awful accusation, an incredible one has come out. Now, this movement has never been about one individual. Any candidate that takes up the mantle here should share Graham's belief or the campaign's belief in ending complicity in the genocide in Gaza, Medicare for all, taxing billionaires, and more. But obviously...
All right, there we go. You get it. Graham Pollard, how are you? You there? Are you in there? Graham, I'm not hearing you if you are in there. Participants too, me and Graham Pollard. Say something, Graham. I do not hear you. If you're saying something. I do not hear you. Okay, now I'll admit you. Again, is this not possible? Oh, there you are. Graham, good day. Your mic is off.
Should be good now. Can you hear me?
How are you, man?
Good. Is this video or audio only? I'm wearing my fish hat for the Team USA game because it's the most American thing I own.
Oh, very nice. This is audio only, but I'll record this just for future in case I need to use it against you when you run for Senate from Maine. All right. Good. So we just played. Graham, we just played the audio of the consultants who first brought Graham Platner to us. The guy who said, "I thought he was vetted at least enough. Nobody wants their candidate in a vat." Well, they got one who wasn't in a vat, and so here we are. Like, how did we get? Who is this effing like drunken rapist? Like, how did we get him?
I mean, just total vindication for the Maine Wire and everything we've been doing here, Tom. It's an incredible day. But yeah, the backstory to answer your question. So there's kind of several networks at play here, but they all tie back to Bernie Sanders. And really, I think if you want to do a meta dive, it probably goes all the way back to 2016 when Hillary and the establishment started kicking Bernie out. And he basically decided to launch a civil war against the establishment. It's not really going well for Bernie. They got Mamdani, but Platner's not going well. So the fight agency is kind of the key player here. If you might, your listeners might have heard the name Morris Katz,
yes,
who is on MSNBC. He's kind of like the 25-year-old whiz kid. This other lady, Rebecca Katz, they're not related, even though they have the same last name. She is, I believe, the head honcho at the fight agency. But they're the group behind Mamdani. They're the group behind Fetterman, behind Ruben Gallego, a few other national people. Basically, how it works is they scour the internet for just kind of like charismatic, macho-looking people in the case of Graham Platner, or people that basically fit like someone who can turn into a social media influencer. And then they get behind them the best digital team basically in the country, the best video team, the best graphic design team. They've got donor networks. So that's how Graham Platner came to exist. He didn't run for candidate.
Before we go any further, I get it. I get the package that is Graham Platner. He's a young guy. He's an attractive guy. He's got a gruff thing, you know, and, you know, oyster farmer is like of the land, former, you know, he's a soldier who got turned by the war. You know, it's a total good story. But aren't these people the same people who like love Jacob Fry? So how do you get like both the weirdly gayish guys and Platners as being their social media stars?
Yeah, I think they're the same people that like Peggy Flanagan, actually, who is the lieutenant governor of Minnesota, which is interesting. Yeah, but Fetterman was kind of like their OG.
Yeah.
And, you know, he is different from Platner because, you know, he couldn't talk at that time because of the stroke.
Yes.
But he did kind of embody like the working class mantra a little bit of kind of just the small town gritty mayor who wears the sweatshirt instead of the suit. And kind of giving that working class champion vibe.
Right, the pseudo working class vibe, because Fetterman's also like a Harvard guy. So it's like...
Yeah, the fake working class vibe. It doesn't matter if it's real, Tom. That's what they're for. They're there to perpetrate the myth, the mythos of these people. And so basically they just turn these guys into social media influencers. And then what they do, and it's a genius business model, and I'm kicking myself for not thinking of this myself, is, you know, they get a ton of small dollar donations by making these guys social media stars, and they just pay themselves with those small dollar donations. So, you know, they front the digital team at the beginning, and then they reap the rewards when this guy gets famous and the campaign gets rolling a little bit. But in this particular circumstance, they did not vet Graham Platner correctly, and now we're seeing the consequences of them doing that. It doesn't seem like it. Yeah.
How many rape gauntlets does a candidate have to go through before he's clean? So I gotta say, Graham, that seeing these freaking snakes in the Democratic Party who like held on like Ro Khanna. It's so freaking delicious seeing him do this. Like, I mean, the story of the rape, she, to me, seems like somebody who was badly damaged by this awful thing, and it sucks. Mm-hmm. But watching these people pay politically and get exposed as just total snakes and serpents, I think is great. And you know, the funny thing is that it's so poetic because the New York Times gets the story, right? They get the whole story. They know all the rapiness of it, or they know there's some there. They decide to saw it off so it's nerfed a little bit. So they get the Fifield stuff where he's drunk and an a-hole, but not an all-out sexual assaulter. So that makes people who would otherwise abandon ship, Like Ro Khanna say, okay, no, it's worth putting my fortunes in with this guy. So it attracts more support. They bring him into D.C. All the senators hug him. They make him pinky swear, which is a term that he used, by the way, with Susan Collins and Trump about something. They make him pinky swear, or was it Mills? They make him pinky swear that he hasn't raped anybody else. And bang, it's like the Times tried to protect Democrats, and what it did is ensnare Democrats. It's like such a frigging corral hit. It reminds me, Graham, of the Nazis were great at this. And speaking of Graham Platner, their tanks were superior, and the American tanks were small, and because they had to be small. The ones sent over to Europe anyway, because they had to be compact, because you had to ship a lot of them in boats and this and that. And the American tanks would go in tight columns. And so what the Nazis would do is they would hide, and their tanks were much better, and they would wait. So if the American tanks were in a column driving over a ridge, they'd shoot the first tank and the last tank. And so all the other tanks are now just stuck. And it's almost that's what the Times did now to all these Democrats who have supported Platner. Like, they've corralled them now. They're sitting ducks now. Like, it's what a hit. Did somebody do this on purpose, or is this just fortuitous?
It's amazing. It's truly incredible. I don't know the answer to that. My assumption is that the New York Times was going to write a more damaging story, and then somebody, I don't know who that is, whether it's lawyers, whether that's someone in D.C., basically got involved and said, hey, Graham Platner's going to be our guy, killed the story. Because if you remember, he went to D.C. to meet with everybody and told them, hey, don't worry, nothing to see here, nothing else is coming out against this. That was like, 2 or 3 days before the New York Times story came out. That's when he rushed home abruptly because the New York Post was lurking in his mom's restaurant, which was just a load of nonsense.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but it is incredible how it panned out. And they're going to try so hard to memory hold this. Ro Khanna now is going to see, people are going to ask about it, and he's going to say, oh, I condemn Graham Platner. We're still talking about Graham Platner. I condemn Graham Platner. This guy went to Bar Harbor, Maine, which is like one of the wealthiest places in the entire state, to campaign for Graham Platner after the New York Times story came out. And the New York Times story, they did kind of dull it down a little bit, but it still painted a picture of a freaking weirdo who was at the bare minimum, domestically abusing his girlfriend. And all these people try to downplay it and discredit the accuser that was named Lindsay Fifield because she's a Republican. And I bet those people don't feel very good right now. This new lady that came out, one of the most incredible things is that people are terrified of the Platner supporters. And I've seen this. I mean, we don't care because we're the Maine Wire, but people are vicious about Platner. You come at Platner, he's developed like this cult-like following. And you say anything negative about the cult leader, and they just descend on you like freaking hawks with the tendrils out, coming to pounce at you. And that's what this lady basically said to Jake Tapper on the show. She's like, I didn't want to come out because I agree with Graham Platner politically, and I didn't want the attention brought on me. But after I saw everyone downplay what Lindsay Fifield said, I felt like I kind of had to. I felt like, men capitalize on women not saying anything, and I didn't want to be one of those women, is what she said, which is a pretty powerful statement. And, assuming everything she said is true, she's really a tragic victim in this whole story.
Yeah.
And apparently, from what I've heard, there's even more to come on Graham Platner. We're not even at the end of the rope here.
Well, and I'll let you go one more question, but on that there's more to come. If you're a guy, first of all, we've all been young and plastered in trying to get laid. We've all done that. But if you're a guy whose blackout go-to is to just have the woman, then that's not great. Like, my blackout go-to when I was much younger is to like have the nachos, so like I was an eater. So like of course there's more stories, and now that somebody's spoken, of course that somebody's going to say more. I think it's only a matter of time, and the Maine Wire will have that when it happens. One last question for you, Graham Pollard. Does he drop out? Doesn't have to.
No, I'm still here.
No. Does he drop out?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I think he does drop out. I think he does. Everyone is turning on him now. The Maine Democrats put out an official statement. Hannah Pingree put out an official statement. Ro Khanna put out an official statement. Basically, everybody that is everybody has put out an official statement, with the one exception of Matt Dunlap, who is a Democrat nominee for CD2. I haven't seen him do anything yet, but all of his strongest supporters are calling on him to drop out. It's pretty tough to survive. I mean, you see some people on Facebook still blaming AIPAC and still saying, oh, but Trump, but Trump, but Trump. But, you know, he's got no realistic chance of winning at this point, unless he has some major rebuttal that completely debunks everything that she's saying. But I don't see how that would be possible. So, yeah, I think he's probably, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he's gone tomorrow or the next day.
Wow. Yeah, it's what a time. I'm sorry, this part, I hate that there was a rape, but this part is freaking delicious. Just as I'm sorry, just politically as an observer.
Yeah. Did you see our friend Andy O'Brien went private, went into hiding today?
I did. I don't get it. He was so tough yesterday, and now suddenly he's gone. How does that work?
It's a magic trick, Tom. It's they make themselves disappear when the heat gets hot. Yeah. All these Maine Wire haters. A little PSA to anyone who's been a Maine Wire hater. It's okay to read the Maine Wire. We would have saved you guys a lot of embarrassment if you'd been listening to our reporting over the last 6 months. So I think I can leave it at that.
Here. Graham Pollard, my friend. Thank you, my friend. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Tom. A privilege.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Recording stopped.
That is, I can't believe it worked this well, to be honest. That is Graham Pollard. He's just a brilliant guy, man. It's good to have him on the team. He was on Jerry's team at one time. All right, let's get to the chat. Then I got to see if my kids are alive. Here we go. Oh wait, let me get to the chat. Tomorrow resigning. He has till the 14th or the 18th. I forgot when, but I don't think it's going to matter. Tommy says not a very sympathetic victim. Do you think not, Tommy? I think she is. How dare you? Is he talking about Alice as Paul? Is this supple? How dare you? That is not true. That is not true. So I'll tell you about the whole cell dating thing, because it was very interesting. It was regimented. You wouldn't be surprised to hear it was regimented. She actually said, well, he is rapey, but I'm going to vote for him. These people are repellent. That voice, that guy is serious gayism. Bernie, that's the guy. More nacho talk. Yeah, that's the guy from the thing. Yeah, let's do the chat, shall we? Oh, wait. Where'd you go? Oh, okay. Thought it just said I had to. We didn't pay the chat bill, but we did.
Isn't it hilarious, Tom, that Jake Tapper, who I would love to kick in the vagina because I can't stand that pissant. Sorry, clam bake.
Yes.
Puts that woman, she was a woman, on a pedestal on the subway with the quote-unquote Patriot Front.
Yes.
The SPLC folks. So there's video going around of her, the same woman, allegedly on her hands, on her knees, with her face on the floor of that same subway, pulling her pants down from, with her bum in the air.
Yes.
And then jumping up and down. And I mean, they always pick the wrong people. The Democrats always pick the wrong people. They act like she's Ruby Bridges,
I know.
The first black girl to go to school at 6 years old, getting tomatoes thrown at her. I mean, this woman is obviously out of her mind because there's video of her out of her mind. These people could screw up a one-car funeral.
I agree with you, Cheswick, although that feels like a year ago now. But yeah, we'll see what the deal is with her, because some AI says that that's like a different person and a different bus or whatever, but we'll see. But obviously it's not what they need it to be, or else Tapper would still be hanging on to it today, but he's got this bigger thing now.
Hey, Tom. Tommy NH.
Hey, Tom. Hold on, Tommy. 1 second. I just want to break up the Charlie calls. Says not 2 in a row, but hang on.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Charlie.
I just want to tell you that this isn't going to do anything for you calling me an elitist.
Yes.
But on the 4th of July, me and the missus were on a schooner.
Oh.
We went out and watched the Constitution come out.
Of course you did.
Fire their cannons off of Castle Island. And then I didn't realize that Castle Island fired cannons off too.
Wow.
I never knew that, but I found out when we were out there.
That's awesome.
And it was a nice time. We had wine, smoked salmon.
Of course.
I had some Sam Summers. It was a good time.
Was this is this your own boat, or did you go on that green schooner boat? The one that they made me crank the sail on in '96. Never forgive them for that.
But what I want to tell you is that we saw people from all over the country dressed in red, white, and blue.
Here we go.
Went to Legal Seafood afterwards. Got a lobster roll. I know we're from Ipswich, and we went to Legal Seafood for a lobster roll. It's weird, but met people.
I don't mind it. I mean, I don't mind it. It's a special weekend. Who knows where that lobster was caught? Maybe it was Maine. Maybe it was a Platner adjacent.
People there from Kansas City, Kansas. People from West Virginia. Everybody loves this country. It was probably one of the better times I've ever had in Boston. Just so people could see the awesomeness of Boston that it used to be, how I used to enjoy it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I'm sad that it was become, but I always loved the city. Thanks.
Here, Charlie. It's good observation, and thanks for sharing it. Charlie on his John Kerry schooner. You know, there's a lot of beautiful people here.
Hey, Tom. Tommy NH.
Hey, Tommy.
On vacation, still listening, participating.
Another beautiful person, by the
Hey,
way. Has like 4 different residences.
Still listening, participating. Hey, listening to the show there yesterday, and listen to Alice talk about her dad.
Yep.
Training the dog, and I assumed right away I was going to hear that he spent 6 years with Cesar Millan getting a master's degree in dog talking or something like that, only to find out that all of his training took place with Scooby-Doo.
Yes.
Amazing. By the way, I want to hang out with Alice's dad and have a few beers. Let's make it happen.
Let me tell you something, Tommy. I have hung out with him. I find him to be like very funny and interesting, but it's out there. There's you're going places intellectually when you're with him, and any preconceived notions you had about anything are probably going to be reversed on you. Uh-oh. Charlie, your message here. A second. I can't get it to play. Uh-oh. Did the internet die here? Guys, is the internet dead? Is somebody doing something somewhere? Guys, she can't kill it now. I'm recording. Check 1. She doesn't know what happened. Okay, because the internet no longer works for me here. Okay. Charlie, I'll have to get to that second one tomorrow because I assume we're not streaming anymore. Yeah, I assume that's it. Is that it? Let me see. Check again. See if anything's working. Yes, Alice has killed the internet. I assume that we're no longer streaming, but I guess we'll play the last message tomorrow, and I'll see you later. What an exciting night. At least we got through. We got the important stuff done, right? That's all that matters. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Woo, if you're not a Patreon person, please be a Patreon person. You get to see all this brilliance behind the scenes. I will see you. I think I'm in for Grace next week, but we shall see. We shall see. And I'll let you know what's going on. You guys are great. This Platner stuff is crazy. We'll have a Maine Wire TV show tomorrow. Thank you all for being so great, and we'll see you later.
C'est la vie.
And 5, 4, 3. See?